Many years ago in Tennessee, particularly around Newport and northeast of Newport, in a mountain area called Piney Mountain, Rocky Top, in between there, and known now as Bat Harbor, there was no log cabin church. And this church is still in that same area at Bat Hollow, which they took the logs from an older church and built this log cabin, so it very well could have been still be the same church. But during this time, there was this preacher Oakley Davis, and he was really fired up about getting people saved and having a revival. So he started to get in the church and tell everybody, we're going to have a revival and we need to get everybody to come. But then when he looked in his audience, he noticed that there wasn't any men or very little men. He said, well, what's going on here? Where's the men at? And, he got to talking with some of the ladies, when they were back in the rooms washing dishes and cleaning up. And they said, well, we'll tell you the story. It's about old Diamond Eyes, the ghost that haunts the trail where the guys go at night, where they go up to the moonshine still. And as they're coming back in this little graveyard area, this ghost will be standing up in the graveyard with these, white shiny eyes, and they kind of look at it and say, "Oh, well, let's just go back where we're at, and we'll wait till dawn, and we'll come by here when it's ghost free." And the preacher said, "Oh, come on now, that doesn't sound right." She goes, "Yes, that's what they see, and a lot of times they don't get back early, so they don't go to church." He goes, "Well, that's not right. Shouldn't be scared of a ghost." So the preacher came up with this plan. He goes, "I'm going to show those guys and beat them at their own plan." He went into his barn and he started putting some feathers and wax kind of on his head, making a costume, and then he put a white sheet around his neck, and he, got some candles took with him, and he had a little bit of some chars or coals with him so he could go out there and light the candle in a little pan. So he went out to the graveyard area that night, and as he was standing out there, he thought, well, I'll scare these guys, and then when I scare them, I'll pull my robes off and say, look, guys, it's me. There's no ghost out here. So the night was going on, and you could hear the guys coming down, and as they were walking down the trail, um, the preacher came out, lit his candles, and started going, ooh, trying to scare them, and then they stopped, and, like, what the heck is that? And that's when one of them screamed out and says, wow, there's two of them. This time there's two Diamond Eyes. And that's when the preacher stopped in his shoes, and when he did, he stepped in the actual coals with his shoe, and then he turned around to see what was beside him, and there it was, old Diamond Eyes looking straight in his eyes. And as he got up close with his candle, he said, let me, it actually caught his hair on fire. It caught that wax, and those feathers flew up in the sky and burned his scalp off and his hair, and then his sheet caught on fire, and he was running around trying to get that fire off, and then his shoe actually caught on fire where he stepped in those coals, and he was running around with fire all over him, running around. The guys were looking at him, so what the heck is that? And finally he says, it's me, it's Preacher Davis, help me, help me. So then one of the guys turned around to help, and he fell down, and then the other guys picked up a stick and said, let's go knock that fire out. When they went to hit him, and actually hit him on the ankle and bust his ankle. Said, Dad, oh God, you hit me in the ankle. And he was still burning, so, he managed to get the sheet off. He had his hairs burned, but his foot was still flaming on fire, and that pan was kind of stuck on it, and the guy hit him again, hit the pan and knocked it off finally. And then Preacher Davis went running out, and he found a creek and cooled himself off. So later, as the other guys that already went ahead were coming back, they said, what the heck was that? What the heck was that? And that was, the guy says, hey man, you won't believe that Preacher Davis was caught up with the Holy Spirit, on fire with the Holy Spirit, and Bill Danner down there was trying to beat it out of him with a stick and managed to got his hair knocked off and hit his foot, and he was on fire. I said, wow, what a story. So later, the preacher, Davis, he never showed up again. And it's believed that this log cabin that's there today would be right up where the story happened. But the moral of the whole thing here is, if you even can say that, is if you see old Diamond Eyes, the ghost there, you might as well sit back down or go back down and have a drink, because he ain't gonna go away, and you ain't gonna scare him away, even if you are a ghost trying to be a ghost. Real crazy.
Typical outhouse right here, and could be full of snakes or anything, spider webs, and right down there's where it would go.